in Washington, D.C. We're going to hear from 3 former Muslims about their flight out of Islam and what it means to be an apostate.
This is not getting discussed on the mainstream media. Not only are they wrong legally, but the fact that they would do this is outrageous. This is an overreaction and really nonsense. How would you react if this was your son or your daughter? It's the offense of knowing the truth. It's the offense of having an alternate worldview. Saying God bless you, someone, is not a violation of the law.
Welcome to the broadcast, everyone, and welcome to Washington, D.C. We've got a very unique broadcast for you. I just have left in our offices upstairs, just one flight above us, a meeting with an organization called Former Muslims United. Now, some of the people that you're going to see on this broadcast, you're going to recognize on TV, one of which you will have never seen on TV because this is the first time that he's going public. After the first break, we're going to be joined by Wafa Sultan. She's the president of Former Muslims United. She's written a very powerful book called A God Who Hates. Now, don't get this title wrong here. It says A God Who Hates, the courageous woman who inflamed the Muslim world, speaks out against the evils of Islam. She's talking about the God of the Islamic world. We're also going to be joined by Nani Darwish. She's been on television often. She has written a book called Cruel and Usual Punishment. That book deals with what's really going on inside the Islamic world. And then the third segment of the broadcast, for the first time speaking publicly, is going to be Amil Amani. He is Iranian. He has left Islam, and he's got a dramatic story to tell you about what he knew was going to happen before 9/11 actually took place. So it's going to be a dynamic program. And let me set the stage on why we're doing this. We have been working very aggressively at the United Nations, you know this, against the defamation of religion. We broadcast on that last year. We're, of course, working on it this year. It's going to be coming up again in March and April, as it does every year. It'll be coming up again in October and November, and that's the way this works. We've been working to make sure the defamation of religion resolution does not pass the UN's General Assembly and become a general resolution. What the defamation of religion says is this: you cannot speak out against Islam. And if you do speak out against Islam, you're violating international law, which in some countries will then be criminalized, which means this: the proclamation of the gospel to the Islamic world would be a violation of international law under the defamation of religion resolution, which is being sponsored by the Organization of the Islamic Conference. This is very serious. By the way, they're one of the most powerful organizations inside the United Nations. They play a very significant role. 57 countries participate. It's the largest internal organization inside the UN. Now, fortunately, our European Center for Law and Justice is also a non-governmental organization with special consultative status with the United Nations. That's important because what it establishes, without any doubt, is our ability to go in and fight these resolutions which violate the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which violate international law. Because the idea that you would criminalize the proclamation of the gospel in Islamic countries is outrageous and it's wrong. Now, in a few minutes, you're going to hear from people that have left Islam. You're going to hear from a woman that was living in Gaza. You're going to hear from a woman that was from Syria. You're going to hear from a man that is Iranian. And you're going to hear their stories of when they left Islam, what they faced. Let me give you just a taste of what's to come. Under all 4 schools of Sunni Islamic law, as well as the main schools of Shia Islamic law, they agree that a former Muslim, also known as apostate, must be executed if they're male. Must be executed. There's not a choice. With women, they could be executed if the imam says so, or they could be imprisoned or beaten 5 times a day until the woman repents or dies. That's under Islamic law. Now you're going to find out that it's not just the words spoken here, but in fact, this is the reality of what these, quote, apostates, that are people that leave Islam, face on a daily basis. A new organization has been formed, Former Muslims United. They are doing tremendous work around the globe, and we are privileged really to be helping them on the legal issues that come up. As you know, we're handling cases for Christian converts leaving Islam all over the world. And we've had cases at the European Court of Human Rights. We've had cases at the UN, cases in the United States as well. So I want to encourage you to take some direct action here, though. It is really critical that we hear from you. We want to stand up against the Organization of the Islamic Conference and their defamation of religion resolution. We want to make sure that Christians are not put to death because they leave Islam. And we need your help. We need to go to the UN and present a strong case. I want you to sign on to this petition right now. Here's the number. It's 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255. 55. You can also go to aclj.org and sign the petition online. By the way, I'm going to send you, when you sign the petition, our DVD, Unshaken. It's a film that we put together in Israel and in the Gaza Strip that talks about these very issues of persecutions. You're going to hear from military leaders, Israeli government leaders. Tremendous DVD. I encourage you to get it. It's called Unshaken. We'll send it to you absolutely free. Here's the number again. Sign that petition, 877-989-2255 or aclj.org. Back with our guests in just a moment.
Christians around the world are now facing more danger than ever before. In the Middle East, the operator of the only Christian bookstore in Gaza murdered by Islamic militants. His crime? He was a Christian. There's a growing global crisis, Christians targeted because of their religious beliefs. Now, one of the largest organizations inside the United Nations is making a bad situation worse. The Organization of the Islamic Conference at the UN is once again pushing a dangerous resolution called Combating Defamation of Religions. The problem? This time, a move reportedly is underway to make this anti-Christian measure binding, mandatory for member nations. The American Center for Law and Justice, along with its European affiliate, is mobilizing an international team to fight for the rights of Christians before the UN. Send a powerful message. Stand up to this anti-Christian bigotry and sign on today to the ACLJ petition at the UN. Call now, 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online at aclj.org.
Welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. If you're just joining us, we welcome our television audience here today. We've been dealing a lot over the past year with the whole situation with the Organization of the Islamic Conference, its defamation of religion issue that is criminalizing anyone or anybody that speaks out against Islam. We're very fortunate to have several guests with us today that know this issue firsthand. They're both authors. They're both former Muslims. They understand exactly what the plight is and what the difficulties are. Right now, Wafa Sultan is the president of an organization called Former Muslims United. She's also authored a book, quite controversial, a great book, very important book, called A God Who Hates: The Courageous Woman Who Inflamed the Muslim World Speaks Out Against the Evils of Islam. Nani Darwish is the chairman of the board of directors of the Former Muslims United organization. She has a book out called Cruel and Usual Punishment. As you can tell by the titles of these books, these are very, very controversial issues because they're talking about the heart of what's really at play within the Islamic world. We just actually left a few minutes before we're recording a meeting that we've had with our offices, not only here in Washington, D.C., but also our African lawyers. Lawyers from Zimbabwe as well as Kenya have been in town here for these meetings as we discuss a very important topic. Let me first start with you, Wafa, if I can. You wrote the book, A God Who Hates. And that was talking about the plight that you had coming out of Islam. How significant, and it's very important for the world to understand that this broadcast is seen all over the world. How significant is it of a struggle when someone leaves Islam? What does that person face?
Actually, I am paying a very high price for my decision to speak against the cruelty of Islamic Sharia. I receive death threat on daily basis, telling me what school my children go to and what they are going to do, how to behead me, how to rape my girl. And as a mother, it's too much to take it. And I believe them, because I was born and raised as a Muslim, and I know their mindset. I know how determined they are, and they will.
How determined are they? Because we hear the stories, and of course we've handled cases all over the world about this. But how serious are these threats from the Islamic world?
Very serious. They are well trained to be patient with time. If they cannot get me today, tomorrow they will. After tomorrow, if not tomorrow. So this is their mindset. And once I was one of them, I know how they think. And I know how determined they are. I take it very seriously. And I know they're going to get me sooner or later.